Interestingly enough, some people still side with the interests of banks and the bankers' beneficiaries in government. They say things like the Greek people accepted those loans and the Greek people could have voted for different politicians and different budget proposals. So aren't they too responsible?
Well, yeah, didn't they vote for those politicians and didn't they choose those loans?
Well, yeah, there is certainly a lot of blame to go around, but I still more so blame the bankers. However, ultimately, I blame the overall economic system. I think it's a systematic problem of how economies around the world are inherently at odds with each other. But for now, here are some of my thoughts on Greece. The loans were made between those bankers and those individuals. The bankers are in the business of lending and borrowing and are supposed to accept the risk of people not paying. The bankers already know going into the situation that some people will not be able to repay them. That's an inherent part of their business. Yet somehow, an outside group like the Greek people are being forced to pay for the bankers' problems. The Greek people are being forced to pay for the bankers' bad gambling debts. When the Greek people were asked to vote on this matter more directly last year in 2015, they voted 62% to not have to take this nonsense from the bankers. Organizations like the Troika and the Eurogroup demanded, basically dictated, to the Greek population that they must pay for the mistakes of those bankers despite the Greek people voting otherwise. When someone makes a loan, there are certainly at least two parties involved, but the person offering the loan is in more so a position to make the loan. Ultimately, it is the creditor who is in the position to take the risk or not. The creditors in this situation are the bankers. And let's note that around 95% of the money borrowed to supposedly help out Greece actually went to the bankers. Interestingly, when the bankers are profiting, they're making money from the loans, they don't mind at all, not in the least, to take responsibility for those loans. While the money is headed into their bank accounts, they somehow know who's responsible for the loans. When the bankers are getting the benefits for the loans, they don't look for the Greek people to share responsibility of making those loans. Only when they begin to lose money do they begin to question their responsibility. When they begin to lose money, the bankers begin to look for shared responsibility in their decisions. Unfortunately, the money to pay the loans made by those bankers came from the main German bank. And so it's also the Germans who are losing money, among others. Their pensions are decreasing. It's a mess. And what makes it worse is that many people in Germany think that they are bailing out Greece, but really their money is being used to bail out the banks again. Like like I said, about 95% of the money that is supposedly to help Greece was actually sent to the banks, not the Greeks. Again, banker loyalist organizations like the Troika demand, if not outright dictate, that the Greek people impose austerity, as in they demand that the Greek people take measures to decrease the size of their own economy, which is ridiculous to expect more money from people who you know don't have the money in the first place. They have even less money as the Troika helps to shrink their economy. So let's really try to emphasize this. There's a group of people who expect even more money from another group of people as those people have less and less money. Like I said, ridiculous. It's a recipe for disaster, and they know it. So this basically means that the overall economy for most Greeks gets worse. It gets worse for the people actually providing goods and services. However, the economy of the owners, the buyers and sellers, the banker loyalists, who receive much of their wealth through inheritance and interest rates, gets better and better. Interest rates are basically money turning into more money on a computer screen. Like I said on Reddit, I more so blame the banks or the bankers and not the Greek people. But more accurately, I would say that I blame the overall economic system that perpetuates divisive and destructive economies that are at odds with each other, consistently at odds with each other. Video posted every day.